Jack, I know Chris was mentioning yesterday that he wants to take a look at you down the middle. Is that something that excites you at this particular point in the schedule?
Yeah,
Things are going well.
Yeah, speaking to these guys too, it's funny. Kind of had similar conversations, I guess, 6-7 years ago with Winnipeg. So always something that I've loved the challenge at. Love that it's an option, a viable option too. So something that I've always kind of strived to be. So hopefully we can get some chemistry on a line and find a good just another way to help the team.
You go back to Winnipeg when you were young and brash and probably didn't know as much about the National Hockey League as you know now. Are you better positioned to take advantage of these type of situations at this point in your career now?
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing I always said about this team and joining this team was the opportunity, and to be able to have some scoring weight off you just with other guys picking up slack. It's really just a chance to help a good team get a couple inches better. So that's what I'm trying to do, and just trying to be a good complement as I've always have, and help push a great group.
Coming in the way that you did, was it difficult or was it understood that the last couple of years this team slogs through October and November and everybody's wondering what's wrong with the Oilers, and then all of a sudden December rolls around and we see that Stanley Cup finalist again. What was your kind of experience going through all that as a newcomer?
I've played in the East. I didn't usually watch how the Edmonton Oilers did in October, but I saw every June, July that they were still playing, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah. Why do you think the fit's been so good for you?
It's obviously a couple reasons, but just being able to play with great talent. The coaching staff has been really, really good, easy, fun to work with. The guys have been really awesome. So it's, I think, a mixture of being able to play my game, not having any outside stress, and just being able to do what I do, and I think it's just been a mixture of all that.
And how would you describe your free agency experience? I mean, you had to wait a little longer than you would have liked, but I mean, what was it like to go through?
It's definitely not what you think it is when you're 20 years old, but it's definitely a process that is can be fun sometimes and not so fun, I think, for others, and I think I was right about in the middle.
I know a lot of times guys will say, well, I just leave that work up to my agent, but in those situations, are you maybe checking in a little bit more, or no?
No, you really do.
Let the process unfold?
Yeah, no, you really do. Obviously, it's your career, it's your life, it's your job. You definitely think about it. You definitely, play GM in your head, but for better or for worse. But like I said, it's just one of those things that you want to go somewhere that will be a good fit, and you can, like I said, you can help every team, but be a good fit, have similar play style, and I think that is why I ended up coming here.
How tough was it to stay patient, though? I mean, most guys want to be done by July 1st.
Yeah, games don't start till October anyway. So would I like to be done by July 1st? Of course, but it is. You're put in positions that it's just the way life goes sometimes.
Yeah, rather than find a perfect fit at the end.
Yeah.
Jack, it sounds like it should be easy to hop on a team with guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, and they take care, like you said, take care of so much of the offense. But there's lots of examples of players kind of not being able to find themselves when there's talent burning so bright. What do you think that you've done a good job of finding your game and being able to contribute, where some star players get lost in that?
Yeah, I think it's just finding your role too, almost. I've played on teams that have had, that I've had different positions in, and I think it's been really clear here, which has been nice. You do have a job, you have a thing that you have to do, and you have to do better than anyone else. So I think it's a really good role identification that we have on this team, and guys kind of know what needs to be done from them. So I think it's a little bit easier if you can figure out what that is. And I think through the first how many games I've played, I think I've done a pretty good job of that. And then also, been able to, like I said, just play and let my skill go shine through. And when you play with great players, it's I agree. There's cases of guys not being able to, but it's just seeming to work.
Jack, just talking about the team game very quickly. What's the biggest takeaway from Saturday's loss in Calgary, and what are you guys hoping to clean up here tonight?
Some puck management. I think so. A few breakouts. Being more connected on defensive zone rushes. And then obviously, I think just being a little more simple at the line, maybe being able to create more offensive zone, structure and pressure.
You've been around a lot of good players. What's it like to be on the day-to-day with Connor and Leon and see how they work and the things that they do behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of different best players in the world do a lot of different things, and these guys are no different. They go about their day. They put in the extra work. They give the extra mile. Off the ice, they're always focused on the game, and it's been really cool to be able to, like you said, have played with a lot of really good players, and you kind of tend to just grab bits and pieces from a lot of other guys, and this will just be another great tool to grab bits and pieces from.
How do you feel like your game has matured over the years?
Well, it's funny. I mean, you joke about skill, and when you're a young guy, you make crazy plays sometimes, and you try to force things. I think the biggest thing is just being able to, I joke that you get beaten down so much about making certain things happen that you just really become a lot more simple. So just the simplicity, recognizing when plays are there and when plays are not there, and then just the mental aspect of your day to day and just living one day at a time, and just trying to do the best you can.